and welcome to NDTV Auto. Royal Enfield, a name that every Indian knows, and it's known across the world as well. Well, they also not just produce bikes, they also do apparel. They introduced biking apparel some time back. Their first store opened in Pune, and now they're opening their second store in Gurgaon. Biking culture in India is increasing, and so is the need for proper biking gear. And to talk more about it, I have with me Mr. YS Guleria.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guleria, for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. How has this apparel brand performed over the last few years since the time you launched it, and what has the journey been like till now?
I'm very happy to share with you that it's been a 10th running year for us since we made an exclusive division of apparels within the Royal Enfield organization. And it's been a very long and exciting journey. I would say this, when we look back 10 years ago, the basic aim of creating this apparel division was to create an ecosystem about the pure motorcycling, the philosophy in which Royal Enfield believes that we need to work with the community, create an environment and an ecosystem where they ride more, they ride pure, and apparel, once we talk about apparel, that brings in that extra element of comfort, safety as well as style. So in this 10 years journey, when we initially started with our own dealership stores, and then over the time, the way the market evolved, the customers started buying not only from the physical store, digital also. We have expanded into digital world. We are now on the e-commerce platform. We have now recently started our own apparel store also. It's been almost a couple of months when we opened our first store in Pune, and today we are inaugurating our second apparel brand store. It's an exclusive apparel brand store of Royal Enfield in Gurgaon.
You know, in biking, the most important thing is that you keep yourself protected. Of course, there are helmets that are very, very important. They are something that you just cannot do away with. But the riding gear, besides the helmet, that's also very important. But have you seen a shift in people's perception and people's mindset where they are now more accepting of a proper full riding gear?
Yeah, over the years, with the evolving ride culture in India, and also the motorcycles or the bikes which they are riding have also, from the basic bikes to more powerful bikes, from basic commuting bikes into different roadsters, the cruisers, the adventure bikes, and everything has evolved. And so is the knowledge and awareness of the customer to be safe while they are riding on the road. So I would rather say, initially, if anybody was talking of riding safely on a two-wheeler, it just started with the helmet, and that was also through a little regulation and the government enforcement. It was not initially with awareness. Yeah. But at Royal Enfield, we have worked a lot on making the community aware, becoming a role model ourselves, that it's not only the helmet. If I tell you, from top of the body to right to the feet, everything has to be protected to the body once you are on a bike, riding a bike on the road. For example, helmet is very important, and then you have to have the proper ride gear, the ride jacket, which we all talk about, which should be full sleeves, it covering your elbow, and then your gloves, safe. It is very important to keep your, hands also safe, and especially there are different riding conditions. When you are riding in winters, then also it's very important. So you need to select the gloves accordingly, the right gloves accordingly, then proper riding pants, and obviously your ride boots. And when we say boots, it's important that they must cover your ankles. So right from helmets to the ride jackets, and then your riding gloves, the proper ride pants, and the ride boots. And they are very important to keep the rider safe. And equally, it is important for your pillion. Most of the time, the rider becomes safe and we ignore the pillion. I think it is very important that the pillion also is properly geared up.
In cars, people have now started insisting on 5-star crash test ratings. Indian government has got Bharat NCAP now for a crash test. I think in biking, in cars you have the body shell, in biking you have the gear to protect yourself, because there's no other way you can protect yourself. So it goes without saying that it's absolutely important. But don't you think it's a bit challenging in India, because Indian condition, most of the time, thankfully we are in December, so we could wear our clothes, layers of clothes, but in summers, which is a really long summer in India for most of the India, it's a little difficult for people to gear themselves up. And how, what does Royal Enfield do to make sure that even summer gear is comfortable for the rider?
As I earlier shared with you, we always take care of comfort, the functionality of the riding gear which we talk about, as well as safety. We do understand there are different seasonalities, which customer, basically a rider in India, is exposed to the different weather conditions. We have summers, we have extreme winters, and we have monsoons. So all our ride gears is having a diversified range. Now, based on the riding conditions in which you want to ride your bike, we have that kind of proper riding gear. So if you are riding in summers, obviously you won't be wearing the heavy stuff out there. So you have light long sleeves to be worn as a ride jacket, and with a basic protection on your elbows and the shoulders, but still it is light and looking stylish also on you. So these kind of stuffs are available for different weather conditions. That's why we continue to launch and showcase to our customers the different season lineup, and let's say if you are an adventure rider or you are riding in Leh Ladakh, especially in winters, you have a different stuff to choose from. So it's a very wide and diversified range based on the riding conditions and the weather conditions, and customer can pick up from there based on where they are riding and what kind of temperature conditions they are riding.
So now when every time you're selling a bike, are customers more open to also purchasing the gear?
They are, but obviously it requires a bit of education. So in most of our dealership, we have a trained, skilled manpower which is deployed, who knows in and out of the riding gear as well as the apparel. So they do educate the customer what works for them, which kind of riding conditions they are into, and if they are going for some external rides or adventure rides, they educate them and introduce them to the proper riding gear which will suit their riding conditions, or also for the diversity of the particular ride they want to go on. So education is definitely required, and we continue to do that actively and in a very experiential way, because our own people also, whenever we have those community rides, the weekend rides, monthly rides, the marquee rides, our own riders are sort of role model for them. They educate what is the importance of these choosing a proper ride gear based on what you are riding and where you are riding. So that education continuously happen at all our stores.
Now let's talk about business a little bit. How big is the Indian apparel, riding apparel market, and what kind of growth is it seeing?
We haven't done our own survey, but if I would like to quote some research which has been done by independent agencies in India. So we did read one report where it says that the riding gear market in India in the year 2023 was approximately 39 million US dollars, and it also says that in next 5 years it is expected to grow in a high single digit. So that's about the industry. However, when we see at Royal Enfield in last 10 years, we have come a long way, and it has become an integral part of all our store designing. It is very much an important part in all our community rides, that we educate the customer, we showcase our range, we take actively the feedback from the experts, the enthusiasts, as well as our community, what they want, in case of new style, in case of functionality. Those kind of feedbacks are actively taken, and we are improving our riding gear, launching new range in entire riding gear as well as in apparels, and also from the international market, where we are now operating in more than 60 countries across the globe. So that network also helps us to get a lot of feedback and inputs, which comes back to the designers, because our designers, our team from apparel do go out in different road shows which we conduct globally. So all those inputs, once they are taken up, they come back to the drawing board and try to create something which is high on safety, high on comfort, and also in a way a trend-setting design. So that's how we are able to grow this market.
This is your second pure apparel store. What are your targets? How wide your network is? That's something that you're trying to target.
Yeah. In terms of exclusive apparel brand store, this is the second one which we have opened in India after the first one in the western region in Pune. But all our dealership, we have currently around 2,000 stores across India, and globally we are around 1,000. So 3,000 plus stores have as a standard part of our BRI. Everybody is supposed to display our apparel and the ride gears. And we are also now available on the e-commerce. Our customers, they can buy the Royal Enfield ride gear and apparel on Amazon and Flipkart from our own stores, which now this is the second one, as well as our dealership network. So it is available to the customers.
But do you have like a target for opening stores?
No, we are continuing to explore and study. We got a good initial response from Pune as well. So in moving forward, we'll explore if there are emerging opportunities and new towns and city where we can open. But there is no fixed target which we kept for ourselves. So it has to evolve on its own.
Okay. Some time back, riding gear was mostly, we all had to import riding gear most of the time. There was very little availability, but now you are doing it in India. How much is this localization of the riding gear that is available with Royal Enfield?
So it's a mix of things. We are having some of the ride gears where the material is being sourced from international markets. We have the best of the material which we are using for whether these are jackets or even in terms of helmets. So we continue to explore that. So it's a mix of India, a bit of from global sourcing which happens and goes into making any Royal Enfield ride gear. In case of certification also, the highest level of safety is there in terms of a helmet, in terms of a ride jacket, the CE certification. So we continue to upgrade in terms of safety, because without that, the acceptability of ride gears cannot be there in the advanced countries and the international markets. Yeah. So we continue to get those certification also.
So is the apparel available in international dealerships as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And these are your helmets and your riding gear is tested on international standards?
Yes. Yes.
So this is the same product that you sell outside of India?
Yeah. So there would be certain requirements of higher level of safety certification to sell in Europe or America. So everything which we are selling is complying with the safety norms and regulation of those specific countries where we are selling.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Guleria, for taking time out and talking to us.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much for coming and covering our new apparel brand store in Gurgaon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.